Alright, for this is again chapter 1, section 1, so 1.1, example 3. Uh, for this sequence, for the sequence shown, write a recursive rule and an explicit rule. So we're actually talking about two different rules. We got recursive rules and explicit rules. Alright? All we've been dealing with so far is actually what you would call a recursive. And if you read this part over here, it says a recursive shows how to determine the nth term by using the value of the previous term. For each one, we say to find a sub n, go to n minus 1 and find the next one. If I want to know number 6, I go to number 5 and do whatever. If I want to know number 10, back up one, go to number 9 and do whatever. So that's recursive rule. Recursive means do it over and over and over until you find the one you're looking for. All right, just back up one, do the next one. An explicit rule shows how to determine the nth term using the term number n. Basically, if I want to know what number 5 is, if I want to know, in this case, what a sub 5 is, I would physically manipulate the 5 to get what I wanted. That would be an explicit rule. If I want a sub 6, I would physically use the 6 to find whatever the 6th term is. Okay? So we'll start off with what we've already done. We'll start with the recursive, and then we'll do the explicit. So let's start with what we know. So 4 to 6.5 to 9 to 11.5 to 14. All right? If you've already kind of cheated and looked down a little bit, you'll notice real fast that all we're doing is adding 2.5 to each one. So for the first one, plus 2.5. The next one, plus 2.5. Alright, plus 2.5, plus 2.5, so on and so forth. Each one to get to the next term. First term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term. So to find the fifth term, I back up to the fourth one and add 2.5. To find the sixth term, I back up to the fifth one and I add 2.5. So to write the rule for this, to find a sub n, I would simply back up one and I would add 2.5. Okay? To find the next one, I would simply back up and find 2.5. Alright, so this is the recursive rule. Again, recursive means recursive, U-R-S-I-V-E, means use the previous item to find the next. My wife is laughing at me right now. Alright, for the explicit rule, that's the one to find number 6, I use the 6. To find number 7, I actually use the 7. So what we're going to do with this one, to find that, basically here's how we do it. To find a sub n, we need to know where do we start. Okay, that's the first thing we need to do. And we need to know what's the and. We need to know the difference. Okay? We need to know where we start, and that's it. That would be a sub 0. That's where you start, and we need to know the difference. So to find the start, this is a sub 1. So to back up to a sub 0, well, just subtract 2.5. Alright, so just back up a term to get 1.5. Alright, so that's at term 0. You gotta know a sub 0. So if all of these are adding 2.5, if you're backing up, just back up 2.5. So far, my starting point is 1.5. Then we need to add the difference. The difference is 2.5 for each step we're going up. So if I want number 3, I'm going up 1, 2, 3. If I want number 5, I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 2.5 times the n. For every step you're going up 2.5. You're going 2.5 per n. So you're going 2.5 times whichever number that you want. So here's another way of looking at this. If my starting point is 1.5, all right, let's say I want number 4. Okay, to find a sub 4, I simply start with my starting point 1.5, and I add 2.5 4 times. And if you shove that in your calculator, 2.5 times 4 plus 1.5, you're going to get 11.5. Works for every last one of them. If you want a sub 5, if you want the 5th step, take 1.5 and add 2.5n. In this case, 2.5 times 5, and you're going to get 14. Okay. Here's another way of looking at this. Does anybody feel like they've seen this before? Has anybody thought of this as notice that it's y equals, this would be the mx, and this would be the b. It's y equals mx plus b, straight up. These are linear rules. Right? An arithmetic sequence is a linear rule. You have a place you're starting, so 1.5, that's at point 0, and then for every step, you are adding a certain number. So in this case, for every step, we're adding 2.5. So 2.5 times whatever step we're on. Okay. If I completely lost on you, you just go back up a little bit, we'll read it a few times. But this is simply a linear equation. And if you want to write it like a linear, if you want to write this instead like a sub n equals 2.5n plus 1.5, that's fine, because it's y equals my slope (2.5) slope times x plus 1.5. It's the same thing, just with a different set of variables. All right.